The Punch, the Daily Independent, and a lot more. Don't go anywhere, stay tuned. Starting this morning from the Punch newspaper. Soludo's cash for votes pledge stirs controversy. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has stirred controversy after announcing cash rewards for every ward won by his party, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, in the forthcoming November 8th governorship election. While speaking on Saturday during the party's campaign rally in Umuze, Orumba South local government area, Soludo promised to give his party supporters 1 million naira. The pledge provoked backlash from opposition parties and civil society organizations, which described the move as open inducements and a gross violation of the Electoral Act. About 2.8 million registered voters are expected to participate in the poll, in which 16 political parties and their candidates will contest the governorship seat. Reacting to the allegations, the Anambra State Commissioner for Information, Dr. Law Mefo, dismissed the accusations of vote buying, describing the governor's promise as a simple act of motivation to energize supporters. The commissioner accused opposition parties of deliberate mischief, insisting that the governor's remarks were taken out of context. On the Punch newspaper, Soludo's cash for votes pledge stirs controversy. And moving to the Punch newspaper again, ex-soldiers fume over lifetime benefits for sacked service chiefs. The sacked Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa and two other service chiefs, Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar and Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, are set to receive generous retirement benefits. The benefits include bulletproof vehicles, domestic aids, and lifetime medical care. Their exit follows President Bola Tinubu's appointment of new service chiefs on Friday. General Olufemi Oluyede has been named the new Chief of Defense Staff, while Major General W. Shaibu takes over as Chief of Army Staff. Air Vice Marshal Sunday Kelvin Aneke becomes the new Chief of Air Staff, and Rear Admiral I. Abbas, the Chief of Naval Staff. The Chief of Defense Intelligence, Major General E.A.P. Udendeye, retains its position. The President's Special Advisor on Media and Public Communications, Sunday Dare, said in a statement of Friday that the removal of the service chiefs was in furtherance of the federal government's ongoing efforts to strengthen Nigeria's national security architecture. Beyond the vehicles, the package includes 5 domestic aides, 2 service cooks, 2 stewards, and 1 civilian gardener, along with an aide-de-camp or security officer and a personal and a personal assistant or special assistant. However, while officers of lieutenant general rank and equivalents are entitled to international and local medical care worth up to $20,000 annually, the benefits for the service chiefs, though not stated in documents, are believed to be considerably higher. Reacting, some retired soldiers decried Some retired soldiers decried what they described as a luxurious benefits and entitlement reserved for service chiefs and senior military officers. They lamented that junior personnel continue to suffer neglect and unpaid entitlements despite years of service to the nation. The retired officers expressed frustration over the disparity in welfare and treatment between senior and junior staff. On the Punch newspaper, ex-soldiers fume over lifetime benefits for sacked service chiefs. And still on the Punch newspaper, Serap demands NNPCL account for oil revenue, threatens legal action. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has urged the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bayo Ojulari, to provide a detailed account of oil revenues reportedly flagged by the Auditor General of the Federation in the 2022 annual report. The report, published on September 9, 2025, raised questions over the management of multi-billion naira transactions, including over 22 billion naira, $49 million, $14 million euros, and £5 million in oil-related revenue handled by the National Oil Company. In a letter dated October 25, 2025, and signed by Serap's Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadari, the organization called on Ojulari to ensure transparency by identifying those responsible for any unaccounted funds and forwarding the findings to the appropriate anti-corruption agencies. The group urged the NNPCL to recover any unremitted or misapplied funds and return them to the National Treasury, stressing that proper management of oil revenues was crucial for national development. According to the organization, the Auditor General's report drew attention to issues such as irregular payments, uncompleted projects, and documentation lapses relating to oil sector transactions. Serap argued that corruption and financial management in the oil sector had long hindered Nigeria's ability to channel its vast petroleum wealth into improved public services. It added that the NNPCL must take proactive steps to comply with all these recommendations, including closing identified loopholes and enhancing oversight on contract execution. Serap also warned that it would take legal action should the NNPCL fail to respond within 7 days. On the Punch newspaper, Serap demands NNPCL account for oil revenue, threatens legal action. And on the Daily Post newspaper, many trapped, others rescued as two-story building collapses in Lagos. Tragedy struck in the early hours of today as a two-story building collapsed at number 54 Cole Street Cemetery bus stop near UBA Bank in Oyingbo, Lagos, leaving several residents trapped beneath the rubble. According to reports, the incident occurred shortly after midnight. The Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service said it received a distress call at 12:20 a.m., prompting firefighters from the Sari Igamu fire station to arrive at the scene within minutes at 12:29 a.m. to begin search and rescue operations. Confirming the development, Margaret Adeshaim, Director of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, said 15 persons had so far been rescued alive, 7 adult males, 4 adult females, and 4 children, all with varying degrees of injury. She added that the victims had been transported to the Federal Medical Center, Ebute Meta, and the General Hospital Odon, Lagos Island, for urgent medical attention. On the Daily Post newspaper, many trapped, others rescued as two-story building collapses in Lagos. And on the Vanguard newspaper, Anambra election to be conducted in 5,718 polling units. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has announced it will conduct the forthcoming Anambra State governorship election in 5,718 out of the 5,720 polling units across the state. According to the commission, 2 polling units will be excluded from the exercise because they currently have no registered voters. The information was given by Dr. Kenneth Ikeagu, the National Commissioner supervising Anambra State and Chairman of INEC's Tenders Board Committee during a readiness assessment visit by a delegation from INEC headquarters, Abuja. According to Ikeagu, INEC has achieved 99% operational preparedness for the November 8, 2025 governorship election in Anambra State. He assured that elections will take place in all polling units in the Ihiala local government area, which is a part of the state that was previously affected by security challenges. On the Vanguard newspaper, Anambra election to be conducted in 5,718 polling units. We'll go on this short break, and when we return, we'll take the analysis of some of these stories. Don't go anywhere, stay tuned.
Ilori, the SBS 96.9 FM student debate is on and still ongoing. Young champions are taking the mic, dropping powerful points and owning the state. Schools are registering fast. Don't let yours be left behind. Parents, get your children in that spotlight. Let the world hear their brilliance. Prizes, certificates, and radio fame awaits the best. So what are you waiting for? Visit sbsradio.net or call 0812 951 8159. Now, SBS 96.9 FM student debate, where intelligence meets confidence.
Welcome back. You are still tuned to SBS 96.9 FM, and this is the newspaper review and analysis program. I am Fiva Raphael. My guests this morning are Alhaji Abdurrahim Saka. Good morning, Alhaji Abdurrahim Saka.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be in the program once again. Good morning, Kwara. Good morning, Nigeria.
I also have here with me Comrade Ibrahim Gidado. Good morning, Comrade Ibrahim Gidado.
Good morning, listener. Good morning, Fifa. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, let's start from our very first story. Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come under fire for promising 1 million naira to any ward won by his party, ABGA, in the upcoming November 8th governorship election, and additional cash prizes for top performing wards. Opposition parties and civil society groups have condemned the move as vote buying and a breach of the Electoral Act, and accused the governor of monetizing the electoral process, while also urging INEC to investigate. However, the state government has defended Soludo, saying his remarks were taken out of context and were meant only to motivate party supporters. Let's start with you, Comrade Ibrahim Gidado. What do you think? What can you make out of this story?
I will start with the word, the actions subjected to inept actions, which is ascribed to ineptitude approach by the governor, in the sense that the governor, they have seen themselves as a semi-god on earth, they forgot the purpose of the purpose in which the electorate elected them into the power they find themselves. The actions is ridiculous and is mockery to the subjected citizen of the state and the Nigeria at large, in the sense that they knew that they are the one created all this artificial misery and the poverty we are all find ourselves in. In the olden day, when some decade ago, so we have three classes of in the society. We have upper, and we have middle, and we have lower. But now they have raised what the middle class is all about. Is either you rich or you poor. And these actions, and as we all know, there's no any justifications in which the governor, that governor Soludos, the money worshipper, we call them the money worshipper, because they have not seen themselves as a money worshipper. They wouldn't have subjected the people to such a ridicule of institution where to the extent that if you have so high number of the vote, this is so particular designated amount, they will ascribe to the institution where they have the first ward that have the highest number of votes will be given 5 million, and the second will earn 10 million, and the third one will earn 2 million, and each is ward with us cover such ridiculous and ineptitude action and the statement being made by Charles Soludo. I will not put the word governor, because it does not deserve to be called governors, because you all know what people are facing, and the people, and you are the one that created all this mystery, all this the problem, the artificial problem the people are facing. It's not by God, it is by our leaders, and by all the myopic and let me say a so-called I'm sort of the one I'm supposed to use even for the electorate that was so blind in the following all this political leader. Me, I'm not belong to any political party, so I don't even have mind of joining a future, because there's no any trend of a mentorship that we integrate with the youngest one into the Nigeria political system. So I would rather stay in my lane and be the advocate of justice and fairness to my dear Nigeria countries.
All right. Now, Alhaji Ibrahim Saka, the governor said it is to motivate citizens to vote, to curb voter apathy. Do you think that this is a case of motivation or vote buying?
Well, the issue of vote buying, or the issue of vote buying in this country is quite pathetic in terms of when we look at the trend of event, and it's part of what we have been saying all along, year in, year out for the electorate. But when the kind of leadership we have in this country continue to perpetrate evils, because I would rather call it evil, because it is a sort of inability of the government itself to deliver expected dividend of democracy, and that is why it now look all means to ensure there's a kind of there's no doubt about the names may be different from state to state on how they make an investment. It is highly condemned, and I believe the INEC should investigate why. Because why is it now that government now say what to distribute money to the best word or the best police or whichever name we use it to bring the certain award for? If that should be, that should not be the general one. Political apathy in Nigeria can only become when we have a competitive, a reasonable governance that has delivered a dividend of democracy. Then that's why we now begin to see whether people will come out and vote or not. But when the election is just a few weeks now, November 18th, that's when the election will come out. November 8th, yes. That's when you now say the best word that delivered to you. Why you? It's not about the political apathy. It's not that people will come out. Even when there was a series of IPO in the eastern part of the people still come out to vote for their leaders. So it is not the idea that it is the idea of people that will vote on the platform of APGA. and they want to induce them. So the issue about vote buying is no longer a news in this country, particularly where initially we used to call the Boko Sebe Yoruba land. It was a theory by Fayose in those days in Ekiti State. Once you get to the polling unit, you be giving. So what is the difference between after voting or during voting or immediately went a few days to the voting, then you give them some money to go and exercise their franchise? It is fundamental human right for any adult in Nigeria to exercise his root. It's a fundamental human right to exercise his right by not being disfranchised. So when a government now, a government in power now decide that when he has a high numbers of votes in a particular community or in a particular ward, there's a reward for that. That is not a motivational. There are ways you motivate people. When you have a good, when your performances is very high, you are indirectly motivating people to vote for you in the election without being told. When the governor performs in the state, no doubt about that, the second time we speak for him. But the situation where a governor has failed, then you now decide that you want to give certain amount of money to the best ward that they can vote for your own party. What does that mean? No doubt about that is an open inducement to me. That's my personal opinion. Right. It's more or less the Boko Sebe, the Boko vote and get whatever. And at the end of the day, it is about the number of 4 years of suffering again, because there's no doubt about that. If you vote for the wrong party, you are going to have the pain. So it's about vote buying, no doubt. It's about vote buying. There are different ways in which you vote buy. Some through sending the SMS alerts. It happens on states. We all know what happens on other states in Nigeria. Some few days to the election, you're grilling, your phone will ring 10,000, 20,000, and you know, because of the level of poverty in society, people tend to accept that money. But we are calling on Nigerians. Let us shine our eyes. Let us face the reality. Let us ensure the needful is done. Let us look at those people that are very, very ready to serve the people, not people that are coming to come and embezzle public money at the expense of the Nigerian citizens. So it's quite unfortunate, and it's highly condemnable by me this morning that when you vote, a particular one will be given. Why can't you make a motivation before now? There are ways you motivate society. There are ways you motivate citizens that citizens can actively participate in politics. Ensure adequate security in your state. Citizens want you to continue that manner. Let's have availability of construction of good roads, electricity, reduction of the school fees in schools. People will know the government is working. But the situation where you are now saying you want to give a cash, where do you get that money in the first instance? It's about public money and people's money. So we are appealing to Nigerians, not only Anambra State, in other part of Nigerian state. Let us shine our hands and see those people that are credible. We have many of them in our society, people that have an integrity, that can perform credibly when election comes in. So that of Anambra is, personally, I condemn it. It's more or less an inducement from the electoral process.
All right. Now back to you, Comrade Ibrahim Gidado. Picking from what Alhaji Ibrahim Saka has said and what you said earlier about disappointment from the electorate angle, can we say that politicians are now using, let me say, the economic situation right now to bribe, or let me say, as a target, incentive or motivation? Are they using this economic situation now as an advantage so that they can get voters on their side?
Yes, of course. They are using the adversary, the artificial adversary, all this so-called greedy politician created into our own dear society. So they are using that opportunity to subvert the river with their delay, their ability, the strength, the temporary strength they have to acquire the mentorship of the leadership, so they wanted for themselves. And the reason is we will continue radiating in this particular situation where unless we are in there is an example, and this example must be instrumented by our dear president, in which the electorate are our the president, and which is the executive arm down to the legislative arm and the judiciary arms, where our own electorate law, so it's been strengthened in terms of implementation, because it has been stated in our own 99 constitutions. There is a prosecution of this heinous or this particular heinous crime wanted to committed by Charles Soludos in terms of it, because what we call it a foot buy, and the foot buy is punishable offense in the section 160, in section 132 of article 4, if I remember correctly. So it's punishable, and there is no any immunity that governs such act. Actually, many electorate, the lack of electorate education, they are being parochial of their right on how to exercise their right, and they are even forgetting that this particular time of data to the tune of the politician will be a century evacuation of poverties. So they continue to radiating even to their for a young generation to be born. But the solution to this is executive, especially starting from the angle of the president, to display, to show the good leadership to the general Nigerians.
All right. Now, speaking about free and fair election in Anambra State, with this, can if INEC fail to overlook, or let's say if INEC overlook this and fail to investigate it, can we say that, or can it still claim that the election is free and fair? Since this is like, it's going like a case of vote buying right now on Haji.
Either the ABGA, APC, PDP, and all other political parties, none of them are exempted from vote buying. It's only the degree in which of them got involved that we have become start talking about that. Or how can we have, or what are those factors that can enhance free and fair election? So vote buying in the issue of Nigeria has not been solved. That's why the fact that there's a constitutional provision for it, for whosoever involved is punishable offense when there's an inducement to electorate or to the voters in general. There's a punishment for that under the electoral law. But today, because of certain factors within the society, you start talking of level of poverty, level of education, level of exposure, and the high level of corruption by the leaders and the lead. You see, when we talk of corruption by the leaders, it's not the leaders that are corrupt alone. If you are we, the followers, some of us are corrupt, and that is the essence of what we are saying. It is about give and take. If you decide to give me and I refuse to take, then what comes out of it? If you decide to take and I don't want to give you, there will be crisis, and that is why there are political culture in this country. And because we are not able to solve some of these things, particularly the executive house of the government, political culture, meaning that what are those characteristics of the political participation in Nigerian politics? One, dysfunction at the polling unit, thuggery, electoral malpractice, and part of it is what we are talking about, this inducement by the incumbent governor. So the incumbent governor is not the only one that will rule out from that in this way. But because he has resources within his disposal, and that is the source of concern for many Nigeria, he has the resources, he controls the source of the state presently. So the state gets as much as 14, 20, 18 billion monthly allocation. So how much is he going to take on monthly basis to and how many of these other political parties have that access, apart from influencing by the power or the party in power at national level, which may not even have much about it, because I'm sure the electorate, the most important is the electorate should be educated on the need why there should be free and fair election. Number two, at the end of the day, at the end of this exercise, or at the end of the election, whatever comes out of it from the results there should be investigated until a 3 months. They should come out for the tribunal. Then the independent electoral commission should be independent in reality, and these are some of those things that can make us happy and fair election. A situation where there's a biased empire, we have crisis there. But if you have an independent electoral empire whose duty is mainly to conduct election without fear or favor, without intimidation, without taking side, whereas the law enforcement agency should not be biased too. So this is so, because using the electoral alone is not the issues alone. Even the security personnel are being used, they give them a lot of money. People see that the election in Anambra State and make billions of naira. So that is what you are saying. So they should ensure independent of all those agencies that are involved in the electoral process, and that is the only way we can have free and fair election. Some they will tell you, I remember when there was election and they will say, collect their money, vote for your conscience. It's part of what money you're supposed to get. Am I talking?
Yes.
So Soludo is not coming out boldly that's going to give money for the collect the money and vote for your conscience. Vote for the person that you wish you feel he can perform incredibly well. That's what some school of thought even say in the last election. The Boko say, collect the money, say well, but vote for the person you want to be in power. But it's quite unfortunate. Not all of us have that conscience. Some people they get money, the fear, the intimidation, the result, the aftermath, fear of what comes of the election will not even make them to vote for their conscience. But we are appealing to the rightful child, the rightful authority to ensure where there's a vote buying, where there's so many as regards the election, they should investigate before it's getting out of hand. And the result of the election is going to be an acid test for Professor Ampita today. I'm saying it categorically, whatever result that comes out of another state is a little test for the INEC chairman to see whether it's capable. Election will come from different states. That of Ekiti will soon come up. That of Osun will come up very soon too. And this election is going to be an acid. It's going to be a test ground for the present Professor Ampita, the chairman INEC.
All right, let's open up the studio line so that we can have our listeners give their own opinion on today's topic. The studio line to call is 0703-150-1256, 0703-150-1256. All right, let's move on this one. Former military officers have expressed outrage over the federal government decision to approve lifetime benefits for recently sacked service chiefs. The ex-soldiers described the move as unfair and insensitive, especially when many retired officers still await unpaid pension and gratuities. According to them, while lower-ranking personnel continue to face economic hardship, top commanders are being over-rewarded despite alleged failures in tackling security. The policy, they argue, creates a class divide within the military and undermines morale among serving soldiers. Critics are demanding that the government review the benefit policy and prioritize payments of outstanding entitlements for rank and file veterans. Now, Comrade Ibrahim Gidado, do you think that these top commanders are being over-rewarded, the type of benefits they are given after retirement?
Truly, in a safe country where the justice and fairness is being exercised to every citizen, so a situation where this kind of benefit is being given to the top ranking military officials is being done where this particular aforementioned phenomenon is being exercised. There's no anything wrong with that. But there is a highly gap of disparity of injustice to other officers, junior officers, in the sense of their welfares. And these particular officers, they are the ones that are really facing the issue of insecurity. They are the ones being used as an agent, so as an instrument to tackle and to solve the insecurity problem Nigeria is facing currently. And for those people that they have the first-hand experience, there's no time, even on the highway. Let me do the analysis from Kaduna to Jos. At least you have up to 20 or more than 20 checking points before you get to the plateau to Jos. And during the midnight, during the day, broad daylight, morning, afternoon, evening, you will see all these they call them undecorated, and I'm sorry to the word is not befitting. This undecorated word under all these officers, undecorated officers. Why top ranking officers they use decorated officers? Because they pass through the NDA. And these officers, they are the ones that are been tackling this particular problem we are facing in Nigeria. And at the end of the day, there's no any motivation to all these officers. In terms of even in terms of their wages, the wages is underpayment. The welfareism is very poor. And even after the 35 years they have served their country, they have nothing to show up in terms of their food, in terms of even if they have access to a medical care, because at the end of the day they have used all their strength, all their agility to serve the country. At the end of the day, there's not any compensations that coming from the side of the government, and a situation where this all these officers they heard or they see all this high competition to their superior, and as a woman they're supposed to show their agitation and the protest towards that, because at the end of the day they been there living in dilemma, in regret of serving their countries. And this particular problem is not far to the present, current, the vacuum that about to consume the top executive, which is the president and his subject. I'm talking of a coup. And they're supposed to investigate what led to the agitation of or to the coup that are about to be happened. And during our little investigation, we realized that even all these officers they are about to make a coup is not all about their concern is not all about the Nigeria situation we are facing. It's all about their own interests, and which I see is the same thing the junior officers agitated for. Because they agitate that their own promotion is not coming at when due. Their entitlement is not coming at when due. So and they want to use this as the instrument, the machinery, the trend, the power they have to do the necessary things. That's why they are staging the coup. That with the little comprehensive I have towards the articles being read. But the same thing, it's spreading across to this officer, because it's particularly visible to those who have lost their life, their wife, the widows. They are there, they are not catered for, they are catered for. Even the offspring they left behind, they are not have access to any way the needed compensation the Nigerian government is supposed to do. They make a pledge, and once the pledge has been made, that's the end of that promise. Right. So there's no positive response that will come for the source. And in this particular situation, if it continues, we have at the end of the day, we have no one to enroll in the Nigerian military to save the insecurity of the country.
All right, Alhaji Ibrahim Seka, let's have your view on that. How do you see this issue should benefit the reserve for sacked service chiefs, while many ex-soldiers are still owed their pension, their gratuities, and all other entitlements?
You've answered the whole thing again by saying that. But you see, when you look at the important aspect of this, of the job itself, that is the military, is an important institution that Nigerians should not told about. No doubt about that. Particularly when you look at the development and contribution of militaries in the history of Nigeria, starting from the Nigerian Civil War, let's just look at it from that, and aside from the military intervention in politics, that has made majority of the militaries not being professionalisms in their areas of job. Essentially, they are very, very important aspect of the defense. Because any nation that told with the security, I think that is gone. No doubt about that. So there's nothing bad about ensuring there's adequate provision for the military personnel in terms of wages, in terms of welfare, in terms of all of that that made them feel comfortable in discharging their duty without having fear. Because why Nigeria still being challenged, the issue of the security is still going on and on, is because of low level of morale for the Nigerian armed forces. People believe that if you die for this nation, you die in vain, and we encourage the government to ensure for proper security of this country. Militaries, all the militaries, even including the Nigerian police force, there should be adequate. Government should take care of their welfare. Whether the officers and men and officers of Nigerian Army and Nigerian police should be adequately being taken care of, and that is only where they will feel a consciousness that this Nigerian government or the government, Nigerians as a whole, Nigeria appreciate what they are doing. But in a situation where there's a segregation, I call it segregation because it's not only in the military, even in civil service at the state level. Even in civil service at the federal level, there are certain duties or certain preference that are being given to special grade people. Of course, no doubt about that. The fingers are not equal. There should be in the civil service. We have professional. But the situation where the disparity is very high, That's our own source of concern. That's my own personal opinion of view. That it should be, of course, we have that because we have rank and file. We have these people that have suffered for this country. But notwithstanding, we should not emphasize or displace certain group of people at expense of others. If, for example, a general in the Nigerian army get all those facilities, at least part of it, if it is just health packages, should be made for other ranks who are directly involved in the battlefield. I'm telling you, as of this morning, I do sit with the Nigerian SRS. They are part of their money has not been paid, a part of their monthly pension has not been paid. So it shows that people will not have commitment in the job. And that's the challenges we have in the military today. How committed are these young people that you are taking to battlefield? How committed are these young officers that have served their nation? Some get wounded, their leg has been cut off, and nothing is being done. Then when you look at the top military officers that were being retired now, how many of them are attained 60 years of age as stipulated? They are not even putting their best on the military cycle because of political appointments that have made them, some of them to be the chief of defense staff, chief of army staff, chief of this at the age of 54. By the time they retire at the age of 53, when they are in their productive age, where experience matters. There's no job in this country that doesn't require experience. Other part of the world, you see the chief of defense staff in America as old as 75 years old, 70, 69. But today, hardly will you see some of them with that age. And they say experience is most important in most jobs you are doing. So we want to encourage that they should equally take care of lower rank officers who have dedicated their life to the service of this country, to the service of this Nigeria. The air service where are still there worrying about without anything. I know many of them, they are still complaining about their leg, where they got wounded as a result of gunshot and what have you. So why giving too much preference? I am not saying they should not do that, but it should be based on understanding of the people that get involved in the war. I know people that take part in the international peacekeeping, ECOMOG in Liberia, ECOMOG in Sierra Leone, United Nations in Congo crisis, and what have you. Yet, government has not been able to compensate people that are take active role. When they come back, they only tell us that United Nations take care of them. What of Nigeria that has sent them? How far have we been taking care of this servicemen? So it is important, and that's the only way we can have a fear of this administration, particularly in the areas of security. The challenge we are having there is because the soldier, the morale has not been. There's nothing to write home about that. So we want to encourage that government should ensure they take care of lower ranking officers who have dedicated their life to the service of this nation.
All right. Once again, the studio line to call is 0703-150-1256. 0703-150-1256. Finally, this morning, let's touch on SERAP. Yes, The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has urged the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bayo Ojulari, to provide a detailed account of all revenues reportedly flagged by the Auditor General of the Federation in the 2022 annual report. The SERAP said there are discrepancies within the report, and it could be, let me say, Comrade Ibrahim Gidado, do you think it is a case of corruption within the NNPS, PCL, or within the Auditor General's report, or it is a case of poor record keeping?
To me, this particular problem is being ascribed to the lack of transparency and accountability by the both quarters, in the sense that there is this particular NNPCL, they are becoming liability to the nation as a whole, because since even there is a section in the Constitution, Section 162, Article 1. It stated that any money by any agency or parastatals or revenue be generated must be accountable to must be credited to the Federation account without any dime being missed. It is stated there. So without any dime payment. And the what core concern of socio-economic right and accountability project is what is now becoming a glaring, rodent corruption within the sector, the NNPC sector, that to the extent that the money has now engrossing to the rate of trillions in summations. And this particular money, there is no any sane man, let me say any accountability or justification for such amounts, where it's been credited to, where it's been paid to, what kind of a developmental project is been tagged to. There's no any accountability for that. And this particular situation is being called for concern. And as my uncle just said now, the country we find ourselves, even it has become a consistency, I want to say a general millennial problem to every level of government. We have a federal, the state, and the local government. Truly, there must be ascribed to the hierarchy of maybe in terms of workmanship, in terms of being the professionalism, maybe for instance the medical doctor, the teachers, the technologists, even there, and so on and so forth. But this particular problem, what the only set of people we ascribe our own resources to is the politician. And in the same country, look at the United States, where we are emulating in terms of democracy, we are practicing, even in terms of the level of government, in terms of tier of government, the kind of the set of people they ascribe the special payment to is the nation builder. And who are the nation builder? The teachers, followed by the lifesaver, the medicals. But the reserve the kind of the revenue that we have our own too, that we believe are the means of survival, it is being sat on by this particular set of people, the politician. All this money is usually where they dig the investigation into it. It later be end up under the carpet, because at the end of the day, all these politicians, they have hand in it. And this setup, they are doing their work, but at the end of the day, this thing will not be. There's no any good end that will come out of it.
All right. Now, Alhaji Ibrahim Saka, the organization maintained that if the flag funds were properly accounted for, more resources could be made available for sectors such as education, healthcare, and social welfare. So, I would be saying that it is because of all these, let me say, unaccounted funds that has demoralized or that has slowed growth in, let's say, the healthcare, the education, and social welfare.
See, the main issues, the bane of the main issues is corruption. And because over the year, except during the then military government under Buhari, Diagba, that people begin to be conscious of what you are doing because of the specifically place war against indiscipline. And it's about all sectors. It's about taking government penny, you will be held responsible. But today, government has not been able to fight corruption from a pragmatic point of view. The one they fought was based on certain factors, and that is why the Seraps, I commend them, but they are not going to the right direction, particularly in the areas of one sector. During the Jonathan's era, even let's start from this Obasanjo. Obasanjo was the chief executive of the Nigerian oil sector, the minister for petroleum, senior minister. He appointed the junior minister. The same thing when Jonathan came into power, he appointed the minister, he is the senior minister. The same thing when Buhari came again, he is the minister, he appointed the junior minister. The same thing present government too. So what changes have you experienced? So whatever areas that we want to talk about, whether it is mercantile, that is the GGM, what do they call it? the director general of that institute or whatever, or whether it is President MD now Ojulari, all virtually everything boiled down on the table of the president, who happen to be the senior minister of Nigeria. So whatever we are saying this morning is about how far have the head of state, who happen to be the minister, how far has the former president of Nigeria, how far have they been able to discharge their duty, having said they want to oversee directly the minister of petroleum, the petroleum industries. We have the senior minister there, who's the Ojulari will give account to. So whatever happens within that sector, the president is highly accountable. That is my own personal opinion. Whether it is about 22 billion that was not properly accounted to the federal account, whether it is about 44 billion, and the issue of missing money is not new in this country. I remember when there was one musician, Barista, he said President Muhammad Buhari left Nigeria $10 billion there in the 80s. That has not been accounted for. So the issue of corruption in this country, and there's no doubt about that, where there's a corrupt practices anywhere in the world, that is the result we'll be getting. So we are getting the same result because we are following the same pattern, and that is why in the oil sector the challenges are enormous and are still there. It has not been solved because of the issue of corrupt practices. Take appointment as a young graduate in Nigeria, all of this Nigerian oil industry, you see the obonga amount of money that such person will be getting, just to ensure there's prudency, just to ensure this what do. But today the result is different from what you are getting. On daily basis, on annual basis, on the same thing, the same issue, you keep on talking about the NNPC, this issue of Dangote, this issue of Pengasa, this rise cost of gas, this. Why is we in the same cycle, the same place? So government at all levels, particularly at national level, because it's what do you call it? It's not concurrent, it's not residual, it is exclusive list. The product, the exploration of it is exclusive under the president of Nigeria. So we cannot blame government for that.
All right.
Now that we got the result of the subsidy, what has been the dividend to the Nigerian citizens? I have not seen much dividend of that for oil subsidy being removed, based on the promise of the Mr. President.
All right. Thank you to our guests this morning, Alhaji Abdurrahim Saka and Comrade Ibrahim Gidado, for their insight. We say thank you to all our listeners for listening this morning. Please join us again tomorrow, same time, same station, as to bring you another package of the newspaper and review analysis program. I am Fibo Raphael. Enjoy the rest of your day.
lè gbórí lómi ìmọ̀ tó máa sọ ní jí o. SBS Radio láyé ń fẹ́ rí kó halẹ̀ gidi gan. Ó dún létí dé fún polówó ọjà ó kárí ayé oríṣiríṣi àwa la ní SBS Radio ní bàbá má gbé kúrò níbẹ̀ fà. Ó dùn létí mi o. Ó dùn létí mi o. Ó dùn létí mi gidi gan. Ó dùn létí mi o. Ṣé rí bó ṣe halẹ̀ fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́ dò. Ó dùn létí mi o. Kò síbi tí kan ní wá òde. Ó dùn létí mi o. Èmi Genesis ló sọ pé ẹ gbọ́. Ó dùn létí mi o. Ó ń já lálálálá. Ó dùn létí mi o. SBS Radio yìí. Ó dùn létí mi o. Èmi ò lè borí dómi ìmọ̀ tó máa sọ ní jí o. SBS Radio.